Two 90-pound German shepherds, a newborn baby girl, and literally every single person in Claire's life told her it was the worst decision she would ever make. She almost listened. Then Ella came home, and Rex and Shadow did something no one expected. Not on the first day, not in the first week, but on a Tuesday night at 3:17 a.m., when the whole house was finally quiet. The only thing standing between a 4-month-old baby and something irreversible were two dogs who had already decided long ago that she belonged to them. No one warned Claire about the exact moment her daughter would stop being only hers. Not her mom, not the doctor, not the 3 neighbors who for 6 straight months kept repeating. 2 German shepherds in the same house with a newborn? Worst idea of your life. No one told her that one Tuesday at 3:17 a.m., she would walk into her daughter's room and, for the first time without a shred of doubt, finally understand. Ella isn't just hers anymore. She belongs to all 3 of them. Claire got Rex in Shadow years before she even got married. First came Rex, 92 pounds, a black and tan German shepherd. Ears like radar dishes. Eyes that miss nothing. 14 months later, Shadow arrived. A little smaller, 88 pounds, darker coat, quieter personality. The kind of dog that scanned the entire room before stepping inside. Both were trained, obedient, loyal in that deep, almost solemn way only German shepherds can be. Not just to a person, but to a purpose. For 3 years their purpose was simple and clear. Then Claire got pregnant, and the warning started pouring in immediately. Her mom called from across the state. Find them a new home before the baby arrives. The neighbor showed up one Saturday morning, silently handed Claire a printed article about large dogs and infant safety, didn't even make eye contact, turned around and walked back down the driveway. Her own sister, who had never once asked about dog behavior, suddenly became an expert. They're unpredictable. You don't know how they'll react. One wrong move. Claire listened to it all. Read the articles. Watch the videos. Lay awake in the 3rd trimester at 2 a.m., mentally tallying every possible risk. Then look down at Rex and Shadow sleeping on the floor right beside her bed, and made her choice. They stay. Ella was born on a Thursday in September. 7 pounds 2 ounces, wrapped in a white blanket with a giant pink bow bigger than her little fist. The drive home from the hospital felt endless. Claire's husband drove. Claire sat in the back next to the car seat, palm resting on her daughter's chest, feeling it rise and fall. Rex and Shadow were waiting at the door. Husband went in first, told them to sit, told them to stay. They sat. They stayed. But their eyes were locked on the car seat in Claire's arms with such intensity it stole her breath. She set the carrier down in the living room and stepped back. Rex moved first, slowly, every step deliberate, like he understood the gravity of the moment. He stopped 18 inches away, lowered his head, took one long inhale, looked up at Claire, then down at Ella, and lay down, front paws stretched toward her, completely still. Shadow followed. Same careful steps. He circled the carrier once, slowly, then lay down on the opposite side. Together they formed a perfect protective ring around Ella. No command, no request. Claire stood in the middle of the living room, feeling something inside her shift forever. They already know, she thought. They already know she's ours. Hit subscribe right now. You're going to want to see what happened next. The first week was textbook. Rex and Shadow had always been high energy, filling every room with movement. Around Ella, they became different dogs. They moved in slow motion, always. Even at 2 a.m. when Ella cried and woke them both, they rose gently, quietly, walked to her doorway without rushing, never crowding, never competing for space next to her. Every morning at 6:20, before Claire's alarm, before her husband woke, Rex would get up from his spot on the floor, walk to the crib, stand there, and simply watch until Ella stirred. Shadow had her own ritual. She slept right beside the crib, breathing so slow and deep that Claire began to suspect Ella had learned to fall asleep to the rhythm of that breathing. The night everything became permanent happened on a Tuesday in January. Ella was 4 months old. Claire had crashed at 10 p.m., exhausted from double shifts, trusting her husband to handle the night feed. At 3:17 a.m., she woke to a sound she had never heard from either dog before. Not a bark, not a whine, something low, layered, urgent, coming from the hallway, from Ella's room. Claire ran, still half asleep, threw open the door and froze. Rex was standing at the far end of the crib, front paws on the rail, staring down at Ella. Shadow was pressed against the side, nose between the bars, making that same low, relentless sound. Ella's face was pale. Her lips had a faint bluish tint. Her chest was moving, but wrong. Too shallow, too slow. Claire snatched her daughter and ran. The hospital was 11 minutes away. They made it in 7. The doctor said one word. Croup. Severe. If you had arrived even 30 minutes later, he said. How did you know to come right away? Claire remembered Rex's paws on the crib rail. Shadow's nose between the bars. That deep, multi-layered sound that made sleep impossible. My dogs told me, she answered. Today Ella is 14 months old. She learned to walk holding on to Rex's back. Shadow lets her tie little bows in her fur, sits perfectly still while tiny hands clip barrettes into the long guard hairs. That same neighbor who once handed Claire the scary article stopped her on the sidewalk last month. You were right, the neighbor said quietly. They're the reason she's alive. Then she added, I have a sister. She's pregnant. She has a German shepherd. Tell her to keep him. Tell her to trust him. German shepherds are the third most intelligent breed in the world. They don't just obey commands. They read context, read emotion, read the room. What Rex and Shadow did that January night wasn't training. It wasn't blind instinct. It was attention. Pure, unbroken. 3 o'clock in the morning attention. If you're planning to bring a baby home to a big dog, don't listen to the fear. Watch the dog. Learn her language. Because she's already watching you, already studying you. And on the night when it matters most, that attention might be the only thing standing between your child and darkness. Trust them. They already know why they're here. 2 German shepherds and a newborn. Would you take the risk, or would fear win? Drop your answer in the comments. Speech balloon.